call meeting to order. Roll call.
Okay, Mayor Westergaard.
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Stanky.
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Bolton.
Yep.
Reese.
Yes.
Okay, the first thing is resolution hiring public employees.
Yeah, first of all, just want to introduce our couple of potential hires here for as our public works employee. One of them is Jerry McBarons.
Nice to meet you.
Who are you again?
So we would propose to have Jeremy transfer from the police department into public works. And then the other one is Alex Frank. So there's Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Just can you give a little bit about yourself, Alex?
Yep, I was born and raised in Des Moines, moved up to Lakeview in 2012, moved out to our family farm. I started Frank's Mowing in 2015, and I'm still doing that part-time.
Very good. So you have the Bill and the mayor and I, we had interviewed several folks, and we do put these forth then as recommended hires. See that there's a resolution to hire these folks. That is on page 9. As far as establishing wages, we would have Jeremy slide over at top pay, which in the public works department's 2207. Okay, we would have Alex hired as a new hire, no experience, and that's at 75% of top, which is 1655. You
Make
take-
a motion that we go ahead and hire those two.
I'd like to first bring something up. Bill, did you talk about all what is expected of the jobs and what the future may be with the water and stuff?
That we talked to both employees about, after the first year, they'll set for their both their water exams and their sewer exam, and we expected to pass it. And then also after the third year, set and take the grade 2 tests and pass them and take it. We covered all the jobs that we do for the city.
So we've got documentation in that we're gonna be able to follow this plan and getting our water grade, and being able to perform all duties in the, I ain't gonna say near future, but in the realistic future, if I'm correct, right?
Correct.
I just wanna make that on record so that we know what the time frame was and what our expectations of the new hires are.
And we'll start them in classes, and also on days we can have time to have them study during the work. We give them every opportunity there is to learn the business.
So this will be point of record then, that we discuss this and they understand what their responsibilities are.
I think page 10 and 11 covers each one of them too. That they'll be in their file, I assume, a signed copy in the file.
Yeah.
So I'll second that motion.
Roll call.
All right, Thomas.
Yes.
Bolton. Reese.
Yes.
Muller.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're hired.
Welcome. Yeah.
Now, on
Welcome
timing
aboard.
wise, Jeremy's gonna come to work for the Public Works department tomorrow,
Okay.
okay? You know, as far as the police department goes, Royce is on vacation here for a portion of this week. He's out of town today. Asked that we not discuss police department operations until Royce would come back. We'll start discussing that then next Monday at our regular council meeting. But as far as covering the police schedule, just that Jeremy's time has been picked up by the other part-time officers then. So we are fully covered now through the end of the month on that. Figuring that Alex would come to work, we've been planning on starting next Monday. Now, of course, we gotta do the pre-employment physical and drug screen, and that needs to get done. But we're planning to have everything back then this week. All the appointments are for tomorrow, so they'll be quickly attended to.
Perfect.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the city's participation in the economic development projects that we got pending.
Yeah, again, in the council memo, I just copied what I had in the previous council pact, because we did table this from last week. But any new information is highlighted. So we were discussing these 4 projects: Tyson Beckman, Billy and Emily Bogue, Dr. Chris Bogue, and then Dale Beckman. So just the new updates there. You see the highlighted part in regards to Tyson's building, that Tyson has received his construction estimates. They're significantly higher than what he had anticipated. He's considering his options right now as far as whether that's scaling back project, or that's looking at different ways that he could save money on the project. But basically, he's just said he can't commit to doing the project right now, and asked that we not consider this now. The other ones, though, talking about Billy and Emily Bogue. Excuse me, I stopped in to see Billy again over the weekend, and you know they've really done some getting to where they're making some major improvements on that now, and you can see that all the front windows are out and everything. They're all boxed in on the inside, so the windows will be significantly smaller than what they were before. But he is still continuing to work on that, and basically then has the interior of the building gutted. And there is no there's no plumbing, there is no electric service really to it other than the main panels in there. So he does have power, and can now run enough power to continue working on the renovation. It does have some plans as far as a couple of contractors lined up. One of the most noticeable things will again be the front windows, but he's also opening all of the second-story windows on that too. And there's a bunch of second-story windows on the north, and so he'll be opening those back up to the world. And then also you see he will repaint the exterior also. So you'll notice some physical changes that'll come to that here real quickly. Other than that, they continue to work on the interior timeline about actually getting the bakery and luncheonette up and running. What would be somewhere around the fall, he was talking. You know, as far as having the city participate in this project, you know, it certainly has come to talk with the city about would the city financially assist him in the project at all. He's not been at all definitive about what that might be. Okay, so as we're talking, you know, it would be just a cash involvement, you know, as far as some sort of an incentive payment that would truly help him out. He is choosing to do this project largely on his own, using their own labor. His out-of-pocket budget on this project is supposed to be around $40,000, he said. So that's the Billy and Emily project, and again, that one's coming together pretty nice. On Dr. Chris Bogue, that he does absolutely intends that he's going to relocate his dental practice from the co-op building over into the old TJ's Donut Shop building, and would then really completely remodel that building to suit his purposes. He had come in to see me then about would the city be interested in assisting him any financially if he would tear that building down. He'd tear it down and reconstruct a new building there instead. So really that's about the extent of the discussions that we've had. We know that he has his financing in place, and we can go ahead and proceed with his project. I don't know what the timing is, and some of it depends on where the city might be as far as assisting him on that. But that's, you know, you think about the use of economic development incentive money, that's actually a way that the city increases the amount of taxable valuations substantially by putting a new building there over the cost of the assessed value of a remodeled structure.
And will we have any kind of idea of what that ballpark figure is?
No. We would need to do a lot more work to know.
So there's no real reason to make any kind of determination right now of what the city, until we find out what he's gonna do and what exactly.
I guess my only answer would be if you're real truly not interested, we wouldn't proceed, but I think we need to do a little bit of homework on it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, I don't wanna make a commitment to
No,
not knowing what's going on for sure. I'd like to see what the plans are and what the costs are, and, you know, if there's ways that we can help out. And again, it all depends on what they're gonna spend and how much they're gonna commitment. Would we put up any kind of, you know, type of building, you know, another Quonset, you know what I'm saying, or is there anything in our, how we would wanna make sure it blends into downtown?
That dictates the type of building. that
Yeah.
goes
Just
in
that,
area.
with any of these projects, we would have a development agreement in place with that. And within that development agreement, you would have broad latitude about whatever you could negotiate with, because basically that's what it becomes then, is negotiations about what you'd like to see versus the amount of any financial incentive that might go with it.
Well, I would like to see us partner with the downtown businesses. But again, you know, it'd be on the backside, and we would certainly want more concrete and more, a business plan, a development agreement, like what we've talked about. So what would you do then, depending on how we decide tonight? Would you tell them that that's what we're gonna need, and then what we are going to partner with is gonna be based on
Yeah,
what their
absolutely.
proposal is?
That we would certainly want to see, you know, their proposals,
Okay.
and that would, we'd reconsider all of those issues before making any.
So they just wanna
Any
know
decision.
tonight if we're kind of willing to go
Yeah,
there.
you know, the original idea was, well, would the city tear this building down? And, you know, regardless of what type of building goes there, the demolition cost would still basically be the same. But, you know, you're right to say that, you know, you'd still like to know
Exactly.
what's going there, what the development cost would be.
Well, it's kinda like the, you know, the grant for, the Moore building, you know, we had very specific, concrete information to,
Very true.
so.
Is there any grants available for upgrading that building and helping homes at all? I mean, we
Yeah. On
talked about that at one time, but I can't remember.
on Venice building, he has secured his financing for that.
Okay.
And it's through a revolving loan fund through Raccoon Valley. But it's all USDA money that channels through this revolving loan fund.
I think the advantage, the way I got it from talking to Scott, the advantage would be to partner with him if he's gonna put up a new building that is gonna bring in much higher tax revenue to the city versus an old remodeled building. That's why I kinda wanna know how much is that? I mean, what kind of difference is that? And I suppose that to some degree is based on the physical characteristics of the building, how big it is, and
I think, my feeling on this is, being we put 25,000 into this Moore building, as far as I'm concerned, that's what we need to do with everybody if that's what we're gonna do. We gotta be fair about this, or we won't have anybody left on Main Street.
well, I kind of agree, but not totally, because you have to base it on the percentage or scope of their project. If they're gonna spend $100,000, we're gonna give them 25, and Nate's spending 300 and some $1,000, and we're gonna give him 25. Do you see what I'm saying? I just think it should be,
So
I think
we'll
we
vote.
should help, but I think it should be proportionate to the project.
Well, I do too, but you can't give one guy 5,000, one guy 25,000, I don't think that's.
Well, you can
fair.
if one is 300,000 and one is 10,000.
I don't know,
That's a whole different
I
ballgame,
just,
so.
if we don't keep this fair, I'll tell you what, I don't.
I think it is fair if it's based on the total cost of the project.
I've given this a lot of thought, and you know how I feel about this, but one thing I do feel is it's gotta be fair.
I think so too, Terry, I agree. I'm just saying that if they're spending 300,000, just, are you listening?
Yes,
If
I
they
am.
spend $300,000 versus the other guy spending 100,000, that's a lot, that's a
But I thought he was gonna
big
spend
difference.
300,000 on remodeling, so why do we wanna put in a new building?
He did, that's the amount
Right.
of his
So-
remodel project.
But
So
still,
it
we
costs a
had,
lot
For
more.
all of his equipment too and stuff.
but
yeah.
still, we had specifics for the Moore
We
building, I'm
don't
just
have that
saying.
right now.
I wanna be just as fair, totally, I agree.
So if we talk percentages, you know, figure out what
Right,
percentage that was for the Moore building and
Right.
maybe
right. Cause I
What
wanna
that
help,
percentage is
I wanna help
versus
Emily
X
Bogue
amount
too, I
dollars,
wanna
yeah.
help Emily and Billy Bogue too. Their project is not quite as, I don't think, I don't have any specifics on them either.
So we got those projects, and then we look at the Dale Beckman project, which is totally different.
Right.
Totally different.
And, that is, in itself is, you know, as far as an incentive plan too, to develop 3 or 4 lots, whatever it is. You'd have to almost come up with a separate plan for that.
I think so, because that project out there is not gonna bring the tax revenue on, at the same rate as your business district. That's
With,
my
uh,
feeling on it.
With
Well, your business
3
district's gonna bring in
3 or
90%.
4 houses.
Well, just the rate of a residential house, the rate of their tax revenue coming in is less because it's residential.
What's this gonna do to the rest of the businesses that are already on Main Street? Raising the taxes wise.
Who's raising the, what do you mean?
The state, county or whatever raising taxes, well, is that gonna be a big, you know, you start putting all these new buildings down, you know, what's that gonna do to our nation?
Well, I guess, yeah, that's the whole idea about raising valuation in general, that, you know, an increased valuation around town is good for everybody. That it controls tax rates for everybody else, the larger that valuation is.
Mhm.
More I'm thinking about this, the percentage, you know, 25,000 out of 300,000 for Nate's, for example, is what percentage, and then kind of follow that.
I think some government, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really wanna muddy the water too much on this either, but you also consider Heath Carroll, that there's been an incentive on that.
Yeah, what was that?
It's $8,000.
And then we cleaned up the asbestos, so he's already got, what, 16,000 into it?
Well, it hadn't been that much. Say the total expense is less than 3,000 out of pocket so far.
Right. But, you know, that project's pretty much already agreed upon done.
Yep.
Yeah, and because of that project, where we are now is trying to come up with some regularity.
Right.
Is that a word? Regularity.
Absolutely.
No, it's
See your
not.
commercials.
It's just hard to say.
Well, I just think,
Irregularity is
Oh,
easier
okay.
to say than regularity.
I guess I just think what we're being asked for tonight is just that we have a willingness to do this, that we want to make a commitment, we just have to base it on a more defined plan.
Yeah, I think so. Because based off the information that you have tonight, I don't know that you're ready to make any decisions, especially like you think about the Chris Bogue project. Very, very much unknown. But the other, and the Dyson Beckman project, you know, really on hold for a while.
But I would say this about Vogue, like if he comes back to us with more facts and figures and a financial plan and can show us what he's gonna build and what it's gonna be valued at, you know, then I think, you know, maybe we do wanna give some money there if he's gonna put up a new building versus an old building, I guess. It's not that I don't wanna help him either way, but the amount might be different based on what a new building is gonna bring in for tax valuation to the city.
Sure.
And we'd actually wanna know what the value of the building is per se, not with the equipment, you know what I'm saying? I think we need to judge that completely separate, you know. Whatever the cost to put the building in, that's what we'll help, whatever equipment he needs to purchase with his,
Well, he's
That's
already
it,
got
that's
the
his-
equipment
that's
over
his
there.
cost.
that's his cost, you know.
So if he goes with new construction and he tears down the old building, so would TIF monies be able to be used in that situation?
Legally, yeah. Sure.
I just would wanna know, like, from the assessor or something, how much more are we going to get in tax revenue on a new building?
Right.
At this size based
Versus the
on,
old one,
versus the old.
Yeah, and that's different than my question. My question was,
Right.
you know, like of Bogues and stuff, you know, we have to come up with that money because TIF monies wouldn't be able to be used for that or no?
You know, it really can, because even if we say, you know, some of it's used for demolition, you know, that's the traditional use, but,
And it's
using,
done some demolition,
well, no, even,
not the outside.
just using TIF money for economic development purposes is certainly permissible.
In fact, I would go so far as to say, on the commercial end of it, on using TIF money for businesses, property, commercial property, that TIF is encouraged to be used in that manner. I mean, that's what TIF is created for, was economic development. And the biggest bang for your buck is in your business section. Not that you can't do housing or whatever, but I'm just saying that that's kind of the big thing for TIF. That and the blight, you know, getting rid of the blight.
It's kind of why we earmarked the territory that we did.
Yeah.
To develop the downtown.
Yeah, and getting rid of the blighted buildings
Yep.
and
Right.
that sort of thing.
Just as we discussed this TIF use for housing, and just a reminder about using TIF for housing. When you do that, you gotta set aside a separate pot of money. Think of it like this, that you gotta set aside a separate pot of money, that pot is utilized then to assist low to moderate income folks. Okay? So, just, the regulation is, whatever you'd have expensed for TIF for residential purposes, you set aside the percentage equal to the percent of low to moderate income people in the county. And then that pool of money has to be used for low to moderate income folks. Okay, now, just say that if there was a $10,000 contribution to the Beckman project, that there would need to be a separate pool of, a separate pot of money that's utilized for low to moderate income purposes. And the percentage of low to moderate income in Sac County, I think, is 58%. So you're taking 58% of that money and setting it aside in a separate fund.
In addition to that money.
Yeah, so it's 10,000 plus 5,800, okay? Now, you can utilize that for a broad range of uses, but it's gotta benefit low to moderate income folks. The most obvious thing that we could utilize it for right now is we've committed match money for the CDBG housing rehab funds, and those monies could be used as the match money for that, basically.
Makes sense.
So I know that I need to get together with Dr. Bogue and talk through his project with him quite a bit more. And we'll see where things go and how quickly things can move then with Tyson Beckman. And then I'll talk with Billy Bogue.
Because I had talked with Billy one day and told him that maybe we were gonna need, I mean, I said, you know, we don't know what your plan is. I mean, we just never, I mean, he hadn't asked for anything and we didn't have anything. He said, well, I can do that, you know, so I think he needs to, if they want assistance, they need to come up with a detailed plan, that's what I think.
I agree.
Only to win the business.
And again, any incentive plan, like you said, needs to be on the back end.
Right, with an agreement.
Right.
And I've talked with all of these folks about that too, the fact that there'd be a development agreement with anything that we do, and that the funding comes on the backside. And they're certainly okay with that.
Okay. So what do we need now? Just do communication work right now, or?
Yeah, let me talk with the good doctor, and also I'll talk with Billy and Emily some more, and see where that goes. On Dale's project, you know, I talked with him Friday, and he had more stuff about how he would subdivide that property, and is looking at subdividing that property into 4 parcels. So the south parcel would have a home on, and he hadn't said anything about who's building that home, but then Dale would have the next one to the north. Next one to the north from that is another one that's, going to be built upon. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah, Kyle and Ally are going to be building their home there. And then there'd be space for one more lot to the north of that also.
So how big are these lots?
I don't have the dimensions of it yet, but we met with his surveyor, and he basically had it plotted out on his laptop, and we can have that stuff quickly.
It was, what
Do
do you
you
say,
want
a
those?
hundred?
I have them.
Yeah,
I think I have them.
they're big lots.
Yeah, ours is a little over an acre, acre and a half. I wasn't prepared for that.
This is
He's
the same
not
surveyor
talking
that did
about-
Bobby Turl's ground?
Infrastructure there or anything.
What?
Is this the same surveyor that did Bobby Turl's?
No.
Good.
Never got.
He's not talking about putting in the infrastructure in there.
Now, you know, that's the deal about this development land out there. If they look at dividing that property so that all of the lots face Crescent Park Drive, all the infrastructure's in place already.
But there was a plan at one time to have cul-de-sac.
No.
There's been one out there.
It's not, the way that the way that it is, because it's a weird shape, there is not enough space to get the lots in there and have a cul-de-sac there because of the,
Based on the lot
Requirements.
size?
no, based on the requirements that you would need for the width of a road, and then to put in a house to match the building code.
But you don't know what the lot sizes are. I mean, you know what they are now, but you don't know what they would be if you were doing that.
Yeah, we tried them from adding in a cul-de-sac in
So
there.
how big were the lots if you were gonna put a cul-de-sac in?
We're not putting a cul-de-sac in.
Okay.
Okay. Clear?
I think I will make some more contacts.
Okay, we need to appoint a member for the P and Z. There are two candidates.
Yeah, you had asked for basically a bio sheet and a statement of interest from these folks. It's the last two sheets of the packet. One's for Bart Thorson, one would be for Catherine Richardson.
Yeah, I looked at both of them, you know, and no, I was both parties, but not know both parties. But, you know, just talking to a few folks, and looking at the bios here, I'm leaning towards Bart because Bart seems to have his, he's done a lot in the community, and he owns part of the business. Both, I'm sure, will make great candidates, but, you know, I think in looking at what Bart has for his bio here, I'm leaning towards Bart.
Well, I'm kind of leaning the other way. I think both of them would be great candidates. I'm leaning more towards Catherine, one, because we already have a real estate person on the board, and two, because I think diversity is important, and I think someone from outside that's, you know, she had a professional job, did a lot of research. I believe that she will bring another aspect to it. You know, and they're currently equally active in the community. I mean, they're on the lake preservation, they're on the dredge site, she's on the housing committee. I think equally, both candidates are very good. I just lean to her towards, I believe in diversity, and I believe she will bring a different aspect to it. So that's my opinion.
I'd like to, I think I would go with Dave as far as that goes. I would like to see, you know, just being around Bart, so not a lot either, but he's done a lot, you know, for the fire department and also involved in a lot of things, you know, part owner of the business and.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion for Catherine and it can go where it goes.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Excuse me. Tom,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Reese,
No,
Wolf.
Motion passes. Okay, we need a motion to go into a closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mulder, Wolf,
Yes.
Reese,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Tom,
There you go. Education.